We all know Stacy's mom has it going on, but in this video we're going to talk about a few others that do as well. This video will be read in a first-person narrative. Story 1. Right out of high school, I was dating this girl, and we were both 19, so we did not have our own place, but she lived with her mom. To be honest, her mom was the exact definition of a MILF. At the beginning of the relationship, we would go back and forth on whose houses we would hang out at. Sometimes mine, sometimes hers, but considering how hot her mom was, and I really wanted to stay there more. So I always made up reasons why it was easier for me to come to her. Her mom was a single mom and she was a nurse, so she worked 3 12-hour shifts. But the other 4 days she would be home around the house, trying to rest up for her work, on top of doing the usual cleaning and cooking around the house. Whenever her mom was working in the kitchen, I would always try to time it up so that my girlfriend and I were watching a movie, because the living room had a direct line of sight to the kitchen. One day I decided to make it known I was looking at her mom, not by my girlfriend, but by her mom. Usually, when her mom would glance in our direction, I would pretend to be watching the movie, but today, I decided it was time to take that chance, and every time she met my gaze, I did not look away. This definitely planted the seed, and the next day we had the same interactions. My girlfriend and I were watching a movie and her mom was in the kitchen cooking. We locked eyes, and this time neither of us looked away for what felt like an eternity. This gave me confidence to make a move. So later that night, I hung out with my girlfriend until she passed out. This is normal, and then I would go home because even though we were technically adults, we had not stayed the night at each other's house because they were technically our parents' houses. So after she passed out, I walked out of her room to see her mom in the living room. She was in there watching a TV show, so I decided to go in and sit down beside her. I purposely sat right next to her to make it obvious. She could sense it too, and she put her hand on my leg, so I put my hand on hers and we started to move up each other's leg until we were both touching the sweet spot. I leaned in and she kissed me and asked if I wanted to go to her bedroom, which we did, and we had the best time of my life. 10 years later, and nothing compares to that. Unfortunately, after that, she was not too interested in hanging out with me again, and because of this, I didn't really want to hang around the house anymore, so I broke up with my girlfriend. But best night of my life and no regrets. Story 2. I was dating this girl for almost 2 full years. I was always loyal to her and never cheated. Well, I found out that she had been cheating on me for almost the entire 2 years we were together. This was pretty devastating, so I needed to come up with a way to get back at her. A little backstory: I'm a decent enough looking guy, and her mom was always a little flirty with me anyway. So I decided that I would go to her mom's house and be extremely straightforward with her. I went there and I told her that her daughter and I broke up, but I was okay with that because I really wanted to be with a woman like her. Her mom laughed and thought it was a joke, and then I walked right up to her and kissed her. She just froze for a minute, and I said, if you want to get busy on the couch, we can. If you're not interested, I can leave. She was definitely interested, and we went to town. After we finished, I texted my now ex-girlfriend and told her, you may have cheated on me, but I slept with your mom. Of course, I was not expecting her reply to that's okay, because I slept with your brother. Story 3. My girlfriend's mom is by far the most attractive woman I've ever come across in my life. It honestly sucked because my girlfriend was nowhere near as attractive as her mom, but the only way I could get to talk to her mom is if I was dating her daughter, so I had to pretend to be into her in order to get to be around her mother. To be honest, I wasn't even trying to hide all the flirting I was doing with her mom. Luckily, my girlfriend is a complete airhead, so she did not catch on at all. Her mom at first was not very receptive and just sort of ignored me, but after a while she started to play along with it. So one day I decided to shoot my shot and asked if I could take her to dinner. Her mom asked if her daughter would be there, and I told her no, I would like to just hang out with her to get to know her. She said okay, we went to dinner. We had some wine, and I definitely was trying to pretend to be a much bigger baller than I am. But I knew this is my one shot to impress her, so I made sure that we got all the best drinks. I was trying to make sure the date lasted as long as possible, even though she didn't know it was a date. I was definitely trying to make it become one. Finally, at the end of dinner, we went back to her house, and my girlfriend was at work, so it was just the two of us. And her mom turned to me and asked, well, is the night over, or are we gonna have some fun? I was out of my clothes in under 10 seconds. After it was over, her mom was like, we definitely cannot tell my daughter. I said that's fine with me, but we should continue to do this. Her mom sort of shrugged and said okay. So for the next month, I was dating a girl and sleeping with her mom. It was one of the most awesome times in the world. Unfortunately, it came to a tough end because her mom decided she didn't want to do this anymore, and her daughter got tired of me, never wanting to be intimate, because I was using all my energy on her mom. So in a short span, I went from being the king to being nobody. If you enjoy these stories, make sure that you leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one.